Welcome to the session Continuous Close and Beyond. Can you ever imagine a soccer coach trying to adjust team's game strategy in the middle of the game without even knowing the score? Accounting is all about providing useful information to decision makers. Decision makers today require real time information on their fingertips. Yet, more than 70% of Fortune 1000 organizations take more than 5 days to close their books. For years, organizations have hidden behind the excuse of delivering accurate and reliable financial statements. Controllers have to continuously strive the balance between agility and speed of decision making on one hand and accuracy of financial information on other hand. Recent developments in the field of digital, data, and connectivity are breaking the shackles of traditional finance functions that carry the burden of legacy linear month and close process characterized by long working hours, data hurdles, delayed input, manual reconciliation, and reworks. Best in class organizations are on the journey of continuous close, that is, reporting their financial information in real time with high accuracy and reliability. This journey to continuous close is standing on five pillars. The first is the movement from periodic to event based accounting. What does that mean? It means bringing the business transaction date and financial recording date closer. For example, as soon as the Uber ride ends, you get your invoices. Collection is made and recorded in the books of account. There is no gap between the actual business transaction and when the recording happens. The second is the batch processing and the data availability in real time. Data integration creates a seamless flow of information that can be utilized for multiple purposes. The third pillar is not just process automation, but looking at end-to-end digitization driving touchless processing. This is increasingly being made real through intelligent automation. For example, machine learning models can now predict default probabilities. Actions can be automated based on the proactive insight generated. Cloud integrated system of engagement like Blackline automate not just the task, but they can directly post journal entries for reconciliation open item resolutions. We at Genpact are also working on to create an AI control tower that will not only drive zero exceptions, but also zero time to close. The fourth pillar is moving from accrual accounting to estimation accounting, extending the structure of parallel ledgers for predictive accounting, recording business estimates for a better financial visibility into future. And the last one is the controls. So from current post facto control testing to proactive dynamic controls embedded within the processes, leveraging smart analytics to predict fraudulent transactions, accounting anomalies, and real-time deviation monitoring through tool like process mining is enabling this dynamic proactive control environment in organization. Let's look at the examples. Three different continuous close journey. The first client is the large global top 3 bank. The objective for them to embark on continuous close was to accelerate the time of earning release to market. And one critical factor in this journey was to integrate front office and back office functions for seamless data flow. This not only reduced the time and effort spent on data reconciliation and validation, but also accelerated their close cycle. Second is the CPG measure. They wanted to drive near touchless closing environment, and for that, they relied on intelligent automation technology. They have an NLP engine deployed that reads through the ad hoc JE request that comes up during the close cycle. That engine automatically validate that request and create a journal entry performer and push it for reviews and approval of human so that it can be posted in their ERP system. This client has also automated their system to system reconciliation through blackline transaction matching functionalities. The third case is of a retail major that has prioritized quality of close over reduced cycle time. They have created a framework for all of their legal entity submission that measures the close submission on 10 different parameters and then generate a reliability and a quality score. This ensures effectiveness and efficiency of the close processes and enables qualitative performance monitoring. The key to the continuous close is integrated cloud-based system, seamless data flow, near touchless processing, and intelligent automation, where data is available in real time. AI and machine learning powers predictive analytics and actionable insight that drive faster decision making. The tools and technology offered by Blackline and integrated with system implementation expertise of partners like Genpact take us closer to achieving the faster time to close without compromising on accuracy and quality of financial statement. But don't just take our word for it. Hear it from our esteemed guest from Webtech today. Let me welcome Brian McQuarrie on. Hey Brian, how are you doing?
Doing well, Bobby.
Great. So thanks for speaking to us, Brian, today. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what Webtech does and what your role in Webtech is?
Yeah, be happy to, Lavi. So Webtech, we are a Fortune 500 company. We operate in the railroad industry primarily. We have about $8 billion of annual revenue. And within Webtech, I am a member of the corporate finance team. And so within that team, we're responsible for the global consolidation, as well as I operate as the Blackline expert, and it's responsible for both the implementation process we've gone through with Blackline and as well as the ongoing usage of Blackline.
Great. So tell us about your journey with Blackline and how it has enabled your digital finance vision.
Yeah, so our process with Blackline. So with Webtech, we've experienced a large amount of growth in the past 5 years. We've been largely through acquisition. So in 2017, we acquired Fably Transport, which took us from a $2 billion company to a $4 billion company. And then in 2019, we acquired GE Transportation, which again, doubled the size of the company from $4 billion to $8 billion. And with that growth the company's experienced, it's come with the need to continue to adapt and improve from a systems and a processes standpoint. And so that's something that we're constantly evaluating and constantly taking into consideration. And specifically, that's just being like here is for our account reconciliation process and our account reconciliation tool. And so for the account reconciliation tool, what we required and what our goals with the tool is to find something that could be a global solution. So with our operations, we have operations all over the world, throughout the globe, and as well as with our growth through acquisitions, we have a large number of different systems and different ERPs. So we needed something that could solve our problems and be a solution for the entire company and not be a piecemeal solution. And also, we're looking for a tool that can help us improve efficiencies with the account reconciliation process. So to reduce the time that we're spending while maintaining and improving the quality of the reconciliations. And then as well as a tool to increase oversight that we have over our account reconciliation. So in real time, to be able to see what the status of our account reconciliations are, and then to be able to deal with any potential problems in real time instead of finding out after the fact that we had this issue that we did not know about. And so with those goals, Blackline was the tool that we identified as a solution and as a tool that met all of our needs and all of our requirements. And so with that, we've been going through an implementation process with Blackline. And our process has been consistent of 4 phases is how we've gone. So we're done. We completed the first 2. We're in the process of the 3rd, and we are we'll be doing the 4th in 2022. For the processes, the first phase was for the GET legacy side of the business. So that is about 50% of the company. And so we went through this process in 2020. And we've been using the Blackline for the account recs since that date. And with the GET side of the business, it is on a single ERP, so a single Oracle instance. And so that we are fully encompassed there. And Blackline is set up to accommodate that. And we set it up in a way that makes sense for that side of the business. And then during this year, so during 2021, we've gone through our second phase, and that is for the Webtech legacy side of the business that operate within Oracle and use an Oracle instance. Both are in Oracle. They're 2 different instances. So we have separate chart of accounts, separate setup, separate product lines. So it's not the same instance, both are in Oracle. And so with that, we had to do a custom setup for the Westinghouse side as well. And Blackline was able to facilitate that. And we were able to, within the same system, have a separate setup for 2 different ERP instances, and to be able to effectively have a setup in a way that the account reconciliations can be completed. And that was completed here. We went live in June of this year, and we've been doing the account recs within Blackline for the past 3 months now. And then our third phase is for the entities that we have that do not fit into one of the 3 largest ERPs we have. In these entities, we are pulling data directly out of our consolidation tool, so HFM, and then we are in the process of setting up Blackline to be able to meet the needs of these entities as well. And that's an ongoing process that we're planning to go live here next month is what the plan is there. And then our final phase is for the Favely Transport entities. So they operate on M3 ERP. And so that's obviously a completely different ERP, completely different setup than any of the ones that we currently have in Blackline. And so in 2022, we're going to be implementing Blackline for those entities. And then at that point, we'll truly have a global system and a global tool that meet the needs of our company and be a full tool. And for each of these phases of our implementation, we've been using Genpact to complete the implementation for us. And they've been the experts we've relied on to provide the information on Blackline to be able to meet all our needs. And with the complex situation we have with the different ERPs and the different instances of Oracle and all the different items that we need for Blackline, we've greatly relied on them to be able to provide the solutions for us.
Yeah. So Brian, you talk about your goal set, which you started the Blackline journey, but now you're already 70% there with Blackline implementation, with 2 phases completed and third phase is about to go live next month. What are the biggest shift and benefits that you're actually seeing? So goals versus what you are actually seeing on the ground.
Yeah. So the biggest benefits we've seen with the go live is just improved account reconciliation quality. So in the past, prior to Blackline, in a lot of instances, our processes were manual in nature. So account reconciliations being completed in Excel by and large. And so with the implementation of Blackline, we've added the tool element and we've added that there. And what that has done is improve the quality of the reconciliations that are being completed, and also improve the efficiency of the reconciliation. So having that tool takes it to the time it takes to complete the reconciliations has reduced. So we've seen improved quality and improved efficiencies with the tool. And we've also seen just the improved oversight. And so with having the ability to see in real time where issues are, or where we are missing reconciliations, or where we maybe don't have the proper say support, or a reconciliation that does not meet our company policy, we're able to identify that in real time. And then we can address that before it becomes an issue, whether it be finding with our external auditors or for internal auditor perspective. And so we're able to deal with those. And that what the result of that is it allows us to fix those problems before they reach the point whether they make it to a say an audit committee presentation or a presentation where we have account rec issues. It allows us to deal with those in real time and prevent those proactively from happening.
I really like your focus on that real-time resolution of exceptions, and some lot of time lot of clients purchase Blackline is primarily for efficiencies, but it is equally important to drive effectiveness and reliability of financial statements. You had a very long Blackline implementation journey starting from 2020. We are almost closing down on 2021. So what are some of the critical factors that we should consider in terms of your learning from this implementation process that that you can share with other people also starting with on the similar path?
Yeah, so from our experience, I think the first thing that I would say to have a successful implementation is to have clear objectives and early on in the process to identify exactly what you want your Blackline tool and what your Blackline, your end product to look like, to sort of fully understand that, whether that be whatever customizations. So there's all kinds of customizations you can do within Blackline. So to identify that and see what do we want our account recs to look like in the end, and to identify that early in the process. And then as you go through the process, you have your end goal in mind, you have a clear objective and a clear idea of where you want to get to. So just to identify that early, and then to continue to move to that goal. And then with that, the other item I would mention there is to lean on the experience and the knowledge of the implementation team. So when early on in the process, when we were new to Blackline and just learning the tool and learning the processes, we were able to lean on that implementation team who've had experience, who have vast experience implementing Blackline and knowledge of the tool and of the software. So as questions come up, or there any items that we were unsure on, we were able to lean on their experience, and they could provide from their experiences, provide answers to us to allow us if what we're thinking makes sense, or if it's going to be feasible, or what maybe a best practice that they've seen. So if we have an idea, they're able to drive that home for us and to be able to provide those solutions that we required throughout the process. And then another item I would mention is for end users, so the users who actually be completing the reconciliations, to engage with them throughout the process. So to get feedback from them and to understand maybe some of the pain points they're going through with their current reconciliations, or things they're looking for, because they're the ones who are going to be completing the reconciliation. So to ensure that they're involved with the process, and they have a voice, that they feel they're heard throughout the process. And then as you approach go live, is to provide training for those users. So it's to make sure they're understanding of Blackline and what the tool is, and what their expectations are going forward, and then just to be able to have them to know what the expectations are. So what we did for that is we had multiple live trainings for the users. So at different times, we would have a Blackline expert come in and present to them, and just to go, so obviously starting at a high level, starting with an overview of the tool, and then getting into specific details of how they're going to be completing the reconciliations, and then how the tool works, and what their expectations are, how they use the tool. And then on the Webtech side, we spoke more company specific. So the company requirements we have for the reconciliations, bringing home with the reconciliation policy, and then how Blackline aligns with that and how that fits in. And so we did that training. And then when we did go live, we offered what we called an office hours. And so that was just an open time with our Genpact team, myself and a couple other members of the Webtech team, to allow them to get on the call and just ask. There's an open forum for them to ask any questions that they had. And that could be, whether it be a technical account reconciliation question, or a question from you could call it the technology or the IT side of things that they had, whatever those questions may be. And then we were able to help them and assist them. And then obviously our Genpact team was able to help on both sides, whether it be the business side or the IT or technology side, they were able to be resources to help on both fronts, which was extremely helpful for us as we went through the processes, and was greatly appreciated by the end users.
I loved your focus on the people and their upskilling. I believe the people are the missing or the most critical piece in this whole digital transformation journey. And in fact, if you see current mix of finance functions, it is heading more towards being bilingual workforces where all of us have multiple skills, not just technical accounting skill, but also digital skills embedded into the roles that we do. So it's really fabulous that you have really invested in your people, and it really talks a lot about your culture and the focus of the organization. Now, what's after this? How does beyond 2021 look like for you and your Blackline implementation journey?
Yeah, so going forward, so obviously our number one goal, or the number one thing I'd say, is just to complete that phase 4 that I mentioned earlier. So just to get that completed, and then get it set up for the M3 entities, and just so then we truly have a global solution and a global process and standardization of our account reconciliations. So that's the first thing I mentioned. And then within the tool itself is to continue to improve the efficiencies we can obtain within the tool, and most notably the auto certifications that we can complete with the reconciliation. So to allow for reconciliations to be completed within the tool without requiring any input or any time by the end user. So to continue to drive that feature and continue to allow for that to be completed whenever possible. Obviously, as the higher that percentage is, the more efficient we are with our reconciliations and without sacrificing any quality. So that is a major goal. And then the last thing is just to continue to improve the dashboards and reporting that we have to develop. So we have obviously different groups within the company, and so to develop custom reports and custom dashboards for the different group CFOs, so for them to be able to see the information that they desire for the account reconciliations, whether that's just purely completion rate, or whether it's the dollar amount of the reconciliations, or any of the ideas. There's a tremendous amount of information and data you can pull out of Blackline, and to continue to develop those custom tools and those custom dashboards that we can allow them to improve the information they're receiving, and to allow them to see the exact data they want. So to continue to work on that, and to continue to develop that for those CFOs.
Great. What a fabulous vision. So just to wrap up, what I have carved out is a short rapid fire session, just to make things light and make sure that we all go with our own takeaways. So this is a rapid fire round. So you have to be really quick, and you have to give me the answer that comes first in your mind. So here we go. Ready?
Ready.
Okay, so what's the toughest decision that you have to make in this whole Blackline implementation journey?
Yeah, so for us, toughest decision was just with our ERP landscape, is really just how to attack that, and how to determine what phases come at what time, and what our scope of each phase is. So we don't have a single ERP across the entire company, so just making those decisions and driving that and figuring out a solution that works there, that was our toughest decision.
Yeah. And what has been your biggest delight that you have experienced?
Yeah, biggest delight is just the improved reconciliations that we've seen. So just going from the manual to the tool, improved reconciliations. And then, as I mentioned before, just having that real-time data and that real-time information to allow us to proactively deal with problems, and not have things that come back to bite us later in the year.
Yeah. If you were given a power to get one functionality developed or any functionality enhanced, what would that be?
Yeah, I think for us, just on the IT side, just the Oracle connectors, and just being able to pull directly in that sense. I know that's available for other ERPs, but just for Oracle, to just with that being our ERP, that would be the one thing.
Yeah, yeah. And if you can go back in time, what would you change about your approach and methodology that you followed?
Yeah, I think for us, and I did kind of touch on this earlier, but just spending more time up front to determine here's what our end result is going to look like or what we desire in the end, and then just developing that up front and then being able to constantly work to that goal instead of starting on a path and then realizing you're not getting to the end goal that's desired. So just spending that time up front.
I totally agree with that. It's sometimes most of us just jumped on to the solution and implementation. We don't spend enough time thinking through it. So, an excellent piece of advice. On advice, the last thing, what would you advise someone who is starting to get onto this similar black line journey? What would you advise them?
Yeah, my advice for them is, yeah, like we touched on it, but yeah, do that design phase, and then also during the implementation, really rely on the Genpact team. They're extremely knowledgeable in the software, and then once you're going through the process, they're the ones who you'll be new to the software, but they'll be the ones that have the experience and are able to answer questions and just be a resource throughout the process and to find this solution that works for you, and just rely on that team and yeah, use the team to their full capabilities.
Yeah, and I would say finding that trusted partner is really critical, whom you can rely on or whom you can look up to for guidance. I think it's super critical. Thank you so much, Ran. Thank you so much for this discussion. I'll let you go off now. Thank you so much.